Reading.
Yes?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. So, hi, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're doing well, and we can just jump into it. So if you take away nothing else from this 8 to 10 minute lightning talk, please absorb this into your brain. No matter what you are doing or what your background is, there is a place for you in the world of information security and a way to position and present yourself to get into it. So, why security? There is a large and ever-increasing need in the security industry for talent at all levels of technology and security proficiency. As more technology is developed and improved, more security flaws and vulnerabilities are bound to exist as well. There are different things you can do in any role to better position yourself to get into it, and it's a valuable extra area of expertise to have to market yourself. So a large percentage of people in the field have completely unrelated degrees and fell into it when their companies needed it or they wanted to make a career change. People come from very unique backgrounds sometimes. One of, in my opinion, the smartest, most well-read people in InfoSec at Airbnb right now was a double theater major in college. Also, a really big deal about having security as a skill set is security is a much more specific field than the whole realm of software development. It's sort of easier to specialize and stand out in. As an example, I got my job emailing Airbnb's chief information security officer at the time just by telling him I didn't really know a whole lot yet, but I wanted to get into security. And since it's a more specialized field with maybe 40 employees in that case, it was a very different outcome than if I'd emailed the CTO who oversees hundreds of people in a lot of different teams. So that leads into my point about passion. If you're passionate about the field and you show it, a little interest can go a long way. I've heard this from multiple coworkers of mine regarding how they got their first security jobs too. Security has this kind of like a chicken and an egg problem where they need people with experience, but there aren't enough. So you can be one if you use your prior related experience and do a bit of research. And at the very least, if you're a software engineer and you even start spending 5% of your time in your role brushing up on security and applying it to your work, great. Now you're a software engineer that cares about your code being secure and high quality, and you'll know how to do it yourself. So on to step 1, take inventory of your experience and your skills. Then throw it out. Then write it again, but this time be 20% nicer to yourself. Also have a peer look through your inventory to see if you left anything out that you do have experience in, and that's a good step to keeping yourself honest. So here's how I would have made my inventory last year. I'd had 3 very different internships. When I first started out, I hadn't completed enough computer science classes to be able to get a technical job yet, no matter how many applications I sent out. So my first internship was doing marketing for an industry association. And I learned how they tracked news and headlines and how they made cohesive psychology-based marketing campaigns. Next up, that experience got me my first security gig. I used what I had learned doing marketing to develop interactive activities, goal-based games, and recognizable campaigns to make employees mindful of how to keep the company secure. I also got to work with security policies, and I compiled research on different hacker groups that targeted financial companies. Lastly, I got to work on my coding skills while using AWS and being a part of a team using Agile for development cycles. This plus a cybersecurity club I had founded to compete in capture the flag events was what I had to offer. So keep in mind for your inventory, everything you have any familiarity with is important to note. You can always brush up on things or spend some time researching, but prior experience with anything in any capacity is a big deal and worth mentioning. For example, with AWS, my web app was hosted there, so I just took a day to look up common security issues with people using AWS and then made sure I had everything squared away in my own setup. And that is a completely valid form of beginning familiarity with securing AWS environments. You can find things like that to do in your job now, and we can get into that really soon. So, step 2, map your inventory to a field or role in security. After looking through a few resources, some seemed like they were almost designed to scare you off by listing 50 separate unrealistic things that you would have to be an expert on. But I found this one from cybersn.com, and it's sectioned pretty well, I think, to lend itself to categorizing yourself and then further researching. On the website, you can dig deeper into different job titles within each category here. It's great. I'll try to give an example of how to go about matching your inventory by showing you how I would have matched mine. So here I've color coordinated my inventory with which jobs relate to the different skills I had at the time. I'm now doing this kind of mix of security analyst, incident response, intrusion detection, and cyber threat intelligence analyst. So basically everything in blue, but I'm still using some of my skills in red as well. Depending on the organization and priorities, of course, some of these job roles will be combined or non-existent. And just as a reminder, on the CyberSN website, these are all drop-downs. So if you're intrigued by any of them, you can look into more specific job titles. Step 3, Do security-related things in your current job to get experience. To be fair, the worst that can come of this is you gain a new skill set and insight while doing your job. So now that you are clearly sold on having an awesome career in security, saving the world, protecting data and everything, how do you make it happen? Here are some things you can do. For those that can't find any way to relate their role to security, you're in luck. Every company at every employee at every company is an attack vector and an amplification of a threat. The most common method of this is falling prey to a phishing attempt. Does your company have a security champions program? Employees from all different areas of the company can preach security best practices to their teams, either become one or reach out to the right point of contact and help make it a reality for your organization. So that's related to the education and awareness aspect of security, where you can just look up the most common ways companies are hacked and then see how you can help employees learn not to fall into those traps. If your position involves code, that is a great opportunity to get into application security. Research some of the most common vulnerabilities and then search for them in your own code to secure it. You can get more active in code reviews, keeping an eye out for security flaws. If you're DevOps, you can start adding static analysis and better unit testing rules to your CI pipeline. If you import any libraries, check to make sure that they're up to date and patched if there have been any vulnerabilities found in the past versions of them. And if you don't have a job or you want to spend some of your free time, kudos to you, bug bounties are the way to go. You can learn how to search for vulnerabilities in web applications and make money finding them for a lot of different companies. HackerOne runs a great program that also teaches you how to find these things, and I really recommend looking into them. Lastly, a way to step up above the competition can be getting a certification. Look into which ones might match your interests and how much they increase the higher rate for the job you want. They can get pretty pricey and sometimes necessary for entry level depending on the company. I studied Security Plus for free materials without getting the certification, just to prep for interviews and learn about fundamentals. So even going through materials without taking the exam can be really helpful. So step 4, it's the last step, which could also easily be step 1 or 2 or 3. It's just get connected. Follow InfoSec people on Twitter and read blog posts, get familiar with the security world. A lot of news is passed around through Twitter in this field, so it's worthwhile to be checking into it every now and then. There are a bunch of compiled articles of who to follow or check out already, so I've just highlighted a few women and underrepresented minority names here to follow. It's really worth building experience in security as a way to supplement your career or as a way to switch careers if you ever want to. So with that, here is my Twitter. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything, and I will do my best to help. I can do resume reviews or give advice or anything. Reaching out is the best thing you can do because you never know what might happen. You might work at Airbnb. So thank you so much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the rest of the talks.